Bonjour, cette matinée va être à la fois en français et en anglais. On a plutôt l'habitude de faire des ateliers du Shift en français, mais aujourd'hui il y aura un mélange parce qu'on a le plaisir d'accueillir des intervenants qui sont venus de pays voisins. Donc je vais passer en anglais. And I would like to thank everybody, and especially the people who've come from neighboring countries this morning to share with us their knowledge and insights on passports, logbooks, and in general energy renovation. So we're here because France and we are not alone in dealing with renovation passports. There is a whole community of people, a small community, but a whole community of people interested by passports and how to massify energy renovation in Europe. Also, we're here because European legislation is helping, and because we want to discuss this new legislation that is the EPBD, ou Directive Performance Énergétique des Bâtiments, which was adopted on May the 14th, 2018. So, about passports, how many of you have a good knowledge of renovation passports? Please raise your hand if you think you know passports really well. Okay, so some people know it really well. I guess others know it a little bit, or not at all. How many of you knew that it was a European issue? Quite a lot, actually. Interesting. So some of us here, that's a bit of vocabulary, some of us here refer to passports as BRPs. It means building renovation passports. Some of us will refer to logbooks. It means in French we use Carnet numérique du logement. In English we say logbooks or other names, but usually it's logbooks. So before we start with the first roundtable, I hope you took our little flyer, 2 pages on the French Passeport Rénovation Énergétique or Passeport Efficacité Énergétique, because we will not be presenting it today. So if you haven't taken this small paper, my colleague Claire here can give it to you. It's important that you know you can compare the presentations with what's written on the paper and with the French Passeport Efficacité Énergétique. Also, I invite you to take the report of BPIE on European passport initiatives. It's a report of, 80 pages, but we've printed it really well, so it's quite small. So I hope that before lunch you'll have a better understanding of the issue and of the European interest in the issue and of how it's happening in other member states. For the first roundtable, I would like to welcome Tine, Bertrand, and Raili, who will be presenting yes, please take a seat, who will be presenting 3 very, very concrete cases of passports and logbooks developed in Europe. Welcome. So, thank you very much. Quickly, if you could, each of you, present yourself in a few sentences and the organizations you represent.
Well, I will start. Hello to everybody. I'm Tine Vande Casteele. I'm from the Flemish Energy Agency, so I come from Belgium, but energy is a regional matter, so I'm representing Flanders, and I'm the project manager of the Flemish logbook, le Carnet numérique, en fait. Oui.
Yeah, my name is Raili Münke. I come from the German Energy Agency from Berlin, which is representing whole Germany. And I'm responsible for communication of different projects in the building sector and also for the individual roadmap, and that's why I'm here for explaining it to you.
And I am Bertrand Leclercq. I work for Qualitel Association, a French association about housing quality, existing for 55 years. And I was the project manager for the French logbook, Carnet numérique du logement, especially in the experimentation which was conducted last year in 2017.
Thank you very much. And Qualitel is a member of our French passport initiative, also Expérience P2E. And we've been talking already for a few months with Tine and Raili and their organizations. Thank you. I think we can actually start with these very concrete cases.
So hello again. I already introduced myself, so we can dive into the presentation immediately. So I'm really excited to be here today to tell you about our Flemish initiative, the woningpas. We call it the woningpas, a dwelling passport, so a logbook for housing units. And I would like to tell you why we create in Flanders a logbook, how we do it, and what the logbook is about. So we have different goals with our logbook. First of all, as a Flemish governmental entity, we want to minimize administrative barriers when people are building, renovating, buying or selling their houses. So we want to manage the paperwork, the many kinds of attestations, certifications people have to carry out when buying or renting or renovating their house. That's a first reason. So we want to integrate different kinds of attestations. And moreover, we want to give the building owner and other interested persons, such as buyers, tenants, occupants, a view on relevant building aspects. It's important that people get to know their building, and in that way they can upscale the renovation degree, and they can ameliorate the renovation, the energy performance of their buildings. And that's really a key element in the thing we would like to do with Flanders. We made a renovation pact with our two ministers, the Minister of Energy and the Minister of the Dwellings, together with many stakeholders, many sectoral federations. And we thought about tools and instruments who are able to upgrade the renovation degree. And woningpas, the logbook, is one instrument, as a key instrument for having a view on the energy performance of buildings. But we have other ones, such as the renovation advice, the Renovation Roadmap. We have a working package on obligations, on financial initiatives. So we made a huge package of 10 work packages to ameliorate the energy performance of existing houses. And so it's different governmental entities. Our Flemish Energy Agency is one of them. We decided to work together, not to work alone, but to work together with different departments on one building passport, because we believe in an integrated, an integral approach. So not only the focus on energy, that's just one part of our building stock. So in the autumn, but it will be a little bit winter, I suppose, we will launch our first release of the logbook. So what we will do, the logbook is a personal, unique and digital file of each dwelling unit. So it's on the scale of an apartment or a single house. And there the building owner gets a view on relevant data of his building. The data is originating from databases of different governmental entities. So he does not put in data in his woningpas. It's a collection of data that is already known by different entities of the Flemish government. We want it to be modular, so we do not focus on energy as one aspect. We show the energy as is and the potential, but we also focus on other building aspects such as dwelling quality, spatial planning, water, soil, and so on. We give the building owner a view on the data, but we also like to give an interpretation of the data, because the persons, people, do not already understand technical data, so we explain then what is good, what is not so good, and what can be ameliorated. So we really want to express these things to the people. We give data, interpretation of data, but also advice. So we will always also be integrating a building renovation roadmap. So the different steps they have to carry out to ameliorate their building towards a long-term goal towards 2050. So the energy performance of their actual building can be as good as new buildings right now. As in the film also mentioned, we want the woningpas to give a useful overview to the people of all kinds of attestations and certifications they need to have while renovating their building or selling or renting them. We show them which are already present in the woningpas and which papers they still have to apply for. And eventually we want the woningpas to evolve to a really digital safe for all kinds of building information, but also of performed renovation works. And we would like the building owner and other third parties to upload more information so we can get a whole digital safe of all kinds of interesting information that the building owner already can share with other interesting partners such as future buyers, with occupants, with the notaries, with building experts. And if everyone gets to know the building, we believe that the renovation can be carried out in a better way because people know what they're talking about and thinking about. So these are the big ideas for our logbook, but we can't do it all in once. We have to develop it gradually. So we start with a light version in 2018. So this year we will launch this first version. This first version will show a dashboard with some modular building information. We will also put environmental information, so we put the building also in his bigger surroundings of flood sensitivity, heritage, spatial planning. And we give the roadmap for the citizens, so that's the overview of the attestations. Very important for this light version is that the woningpas is a free tool. So nobody has to apply for this tool, nobody has to ask for a building passport. It will be generated automatically out of data that is already in existing databases. So we do some data collection from databases, and we do not create a database on our own. We just make a user interface and giving interpretation on data that is existing. We started with the concept of our woningpas in the end of 2016, but it's already the end of 2018, so it took us quite a long time, longer than we expected it. We sure put some time in user experience design, so we made prototypes in cooperation with citizens, and we had some time for this technical development, but it went a little bit slow because of the data collection, and that's one of the most difficult elements in this project. That was to find available data, link those data together so that we talk about the same building unit, and also getting permission to access the data. So we had to ask for permissions to the Privacy Commission, to different entities, and so these juridical aspects were the most difficult about this creation. We did not have also a legal basis to make a logbook, to make a passport, so we worked since 1 year on a decree that is already approved of by the Flemish government, but has to go to the parliament. So I believe when there would be a legal basis on building passports, logbooks in some European matter, that things would be can go faster. But we will launch in December. And in 2019, so that's quick after our first launch, we will expand the passport with new information. We will add a check tool on dwelling quality and add information on dwelling quality. More thematic topics on the dashboard. We will integrate our renovation roadmap, and by the end of 2019, we want to create a digital safe where the building owner can share his information with third parties, with other interested partners. Also, we want to integrate not only the must-dos, the attestations and the certifications people need while renovating, but also put some positive things like financial incentives. So we want to give an overview of all kinds of premiums, subsidies, because that's really something that people are interested about when renovating a house, what's available. So as I said, the woningpas is for citizens, so we did a design track together with the citizens and with many stakeholders during the process. We asked them really periodically for their ideas and feedback. So we did some questionnaires, some workshops with all kinds of people and citizens. We also made prototypes for this passport and did some user testing. Just before making one element of the development, we already shared our passport prototypes with the people, and they could consult them at the big building forums that are existing in Belgium. So now I hope I can enter to the prototype of the light version. Oui, voilà. So that's our passport. You can see the dashboard. For having access to the data, you just put your electronic identity card in your card reader. We retrieve information from the ownership, your properties, and then you can select, if you have more properties, you can select your dwelling, and then you have access to the passport. So you see it's modular. Oopsie. It's a modular thing. You get a view on energy, on the soil, on solar potential, on insulation aspects, installations. And so you can see information on the most important surfaces, volumes of your buildings, on energy, your score, on your solar potential. So we give data on soil, on many elements. We give some information of the environment of your building. So this is a spatial planning. We also give focus on flood sensitivity and heritage. And you get a view on the attestations that are already existing in your digital passport. And you can see the historic of these documents. So that's our light version. And in January 2019, we will integrate our building renovation roadmap also in the passport. So that's the renovation advice aspect. So when you get an EPC, so an energy performance certificate, when selling or renting your house, we will add an EPC Plus. And the EPC Plus is a renovation roadmap you automatically get when an energy auditor makes his own site visit in your house. And he makes up this roadmap. In this roadmap, you get recommendations and a priority of recommendations, as you see from red till green. To ameliorate your building, you get the recommendations in an exact way, an indication of the cost to ameliorate that part of the building, and you can ask for more information on how you can perform this work. So if you have to change your roof, you get suggestions to do this and suggestions of prices. Also, and that's what the end version is about, you can see in one eye view, that's a really strange word, but you can see the financial initiatives to renovate your roof. And then after executing every step, every measurement, you see how you move on your energy scale after doing each recommendation. And so you see your present energy label and the goal you should reach after doing all those renovation works. So that's what we will do now. So in this month we will do a quiet release. We will launch the platform and we'll give limited access to some people who can test out the woningpas. So we do acceptance tests and performance testing. And if everything is going well, if everything sees the correct data, we will publicly launch our passport in 2018. It will be end November, beginning of December. And then it's accessible by everyone. Every house owner gets access to his woningpas. And then in January 2019, we add more content and we launch our renovation roadmap, as we call it, the EPC Plus. That's what 2018 and 2019 is about, but we don't want to end up with our woningpas in 2019. We want it to grow so that everyone uses and knows the woning passport and they like it also. So we defined four tracks to evolve to with the woningpas. And so first of all, we'd like it to grow. We want to integrate more data from Flemish government, but also from local, provincial and federal administrations. And we also want to extend the scope of the building to parcel to environment. That's one element. We want the woningpas to really stimulate renovation. So in the woningpas, we also like to have an automatic follow-up of the renovation steps. You found that you can follow up the renovation works and you get a view on the life cycle of your building with a direct link to financial initiatives and the granting of premiums. So you can upload a renovating work and you can really get automatically your financial support. Another thing we want for the woningpas is that it should be more dynamic, more proactive. We like it to link it with more real consumption data, including building maintenance, smart meters, and so we can evolve the woningpas with automatic advice. And we want to enlarge also the scale from individual houses to a building overview and from a dwelling passport to a building passport. And that's why we are working on a decree as well to give a legal basis not only for single houses but also for other types of non-residential buildings. And also an automatic access from certain groups such as notaries, tenants, so they can access without permission asked to the owner to get access to the woningpas. So that's what our logbook is about. I just end with those two words, dream big. You can gather ideas with the stakeholders, but then make it real small and make it with steps and dare to begin and see how you can let it grow in the next years.
Tine, if somebody has a very quick question to make something more precise, would you answer quickly? Also,
I will do it, yes.
Okay. Anybody has a small question to make something, to shed some light?
Yes, one technical question. The energy consumption is primary or final energy?
Primary energy.
Okay, thanks.
That was quick. Another one? No? Yes? Well, one other one and then...
Yes, thank you. How many dwellings will be included in your database?
How many dwellings?
Yes.
Well, we have like 4 million building units, so there will be a passport for 4 million building units. But we have more or less 1.3 million dwellings where we have information on energy. So that's like 1/3 that has information on energy, but for the others, there's information on other aspects. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Do any of you have a small reaction also, or should we do the presentation?
No, that's impressive. Very complex.
Absolutely.
Maybe if I can, just a very short technical question. The ID card reader, everyone has got that in your country?
No, but you can also use like an app, an It's Me app, and other kinds of things to authorize yourself.
Thank you.
Je vous présente aujourd'hui la feuille de route individuelle pour la rénovation que nous avons développée en Allemagne dans les années 2015 jusqu'à 2017. Oui, mais d'abord un peu de cadre politique pour notre feuille de route individuelle. Les buts principaux de la politique dans le domaine des bâtiments énergétiques en Allemagne, c'est d'augmenter le taux de rénovation énergétique et aussi de renforcer l'audit énergétique, mais aussi de renforcer l'assurance qualité des mesures d'efficacité d'énergie sur les chantiers. La feuille de route individuelle, que nous appelons en Allemagne individueller Sanierungsfahrplan, et aussi avec une abréviation ISFP. Il est ancré dans la politique de la Grande Coalition, dans le plan d'action national d'efficacité d'énergie. Et aussi, nous avons beaucoup de programmes pour une aide financière au domaine d'investissement et des consultations. C'est pourquoi si un propriétaire se décide d'avoir un ISFP, il peut avoir une aide financière pour cela. Un grand but de la politique en Allemagne, c'est d'avoir un parc immobilier climatiquement neutre dans l'année 2050. Et deux éléments importants pour cela, c'est pour activer les propriétaires, c'est de la sensibilisation des propriétaires pour ce thème, mais aussi d'avoir et de proposer des recommandations concrètes et individuelles pour des mesures d'efficacité. Ça veut dire c'est l'audit qui est important et pour augmenter le taux de la rénovation. Pour la sensibilisation, c'est le diagnostic de performance énergétique qui est important parce qu'il informe sur l'état énergétique actuel du bâtiment et il contient aussi des recommandations générales sur des mesures d'efficacité. Nous avons deux possibilités pour un diagnostic en Allemagne. Le propriétaire peut décider s'il veut avoir un diagnostic qui est basé sur la consommation énergétique, sur la consommation d'énergie, ou un diagnostic qui est basé sur le besoin d'énergie. Et l'autre, au contraire, ou avec les recommandations plus concrètes, nous avons développé le ISFP. Il voit au futur et donne une perspective très concrète et individuelle pour le propriétaire. Comme j'ai déjà dit, nous avons travaillé sur la feuille de route pendant 2 années. Nous avons développé un standard pour une méthodologie systématique et standardisée qui est valable dans toute l'Allemagne maintenant. Et nous avons travaillé dans un consortium qui se constitue de la DENA, de l'Institut IFOI et de Passivhaus Institut. et nous avons travaillé par ordre du ministère fédéral de l'économie et de l'énergie. Et une autre chose très importante, pendant tout le temps dans lequel nous avons travaillé et développé le ISFP, nous avons fait beaucoup de tests en pratique avec les auditeurs pour intégrer leur opinion, parce que c'est important de savoir ce qui est important pour eux, parce qu'ils doivent travailler avec l'instrument plus tard. Oui, le ISFP est maintenant un standard et une possibilité pour le document final d'un audit énergétique. L'autre possibilité, c'est un rapport qui est écrit par le propriétaire soi-même. Et l'utilisation est facultative, ça veut dire que le propriétaire peut choisir. Le ISFP se prête pour la rénovation globale et aussi pour la rénovation par étapes. Et il peut être utilisé pour toutes les maisons résidentielles. Ça veut dire pour les maisons individuelles et jumelles et aussi pour les immeubles collectifs. La feuille de route peut être utilisée par chaque auditeur parce que le ISFP fait partie des logiciels des calculs thermiques. Mais si le propriétaire veut avoir une aide financière par l'État, c'est nécessaire que l'auditeur qui offre le ISFP est inscrit dans une liste officielle du BAFA. Le BAFA, c'est une institution de l'État. Oui, ici, vous voyez les 2 pages titres des documents pour le propriétaire. Ce sont les documents finaux qui le propriétaire reçoit à la fin. Le premier document, c'est ma feuille qui s'appelle « Ma feuille de route ». À 7 pages d'infos courtes et claires et une page dépliable qui montre la feuille de route sur une vue. Et l'autre document s'appelle « L'aide pour la mise en œuvre » et là se trouvent des descriptions détaillées et beaucoup des explications sur les mesures proposées. Et une documentation technique, des descriptions des coûts, mais aussi il y a des croquis qui illustrent toutes les mesures proposées. Ici, vous voyez la page centrale, c'est la page dépliable, c'est la feuille de route. Ici, c'est une feuille de route individuelle pour une rénovation par étape, en le voyant parce que c'est comme un escalier. Les maisons changent beaucoup les couleurs. Oui, je sais pas, on peut le voir, non. En bas, on trouve une axe du temps et chaque petite maison représente un paquet de mesures d'efficacité et toutes les mesures qui font partie de ce paquet sont indiquées là-dedans. Et en bas, on trouve les coûts totaux et aussi les coûts qui sont nécessaires pour le maintien des composants. Et aussi, s'il y a une aide financière par l'État possible, c'est aussi nommé là-dedans. Oui, il y a aussi des petits tableaux au début et à la fin. Là-dedans se trouvent des coûts d'énergie d'aujourd'hui et dans le futur, et aussi les émissions du dioxyde de carbone aujourd'hui et dans le futur. Et oui, c'est toujours en comparaison. Une chose qui est aussi importante à propos des couleurs, c'est les couleurs se basent sur des exigences officielles des rénovations et elles représentent les besoins d'énergie primaire d'un bâtiment pour le chauffage et l'eau chaude. une chose très importante à propos d'un ISFP, c'est un ISFP représente seulement une variante pour une rénovation. Ça veut dire si un propriétaire veut avoir plusieurs variantes, il a besoin de plusieurs ISFP. Pour le consultant, nous avons travaillé sur 3 documents qui l'aident pendant le développement d'un ISFP. C'est d'abord un checklist pour le rendez-vous sur place chez le propriétaire et pour le premier entretien avec eux. Nous avons une instruction courte qui décrit des différentes étapes pendant un développement d'un ISFP. Et on a un manuel détaillé avec des explications et l'arrière-plan sur la procédure et de la méthodologie de la feuille de route individuelle. Et oui, c'est plus long. Comme j'ai déjà dit, nous avons le ISFP en Allemagne, c'est intégré dans les logiciels de calcul thermique. Nous avons beaucoup de ces logiciels en Allemagne. Les entreprises ont intégré l'ISFP soi-même et de la manière facultative. Et jusqu'à maintenant, il y a 8 produits de logiciels qui ont intégré le ISFP dans leurs produits. Dans cette petite image, vous voyez un extrait de l'application pour imprimer le ISFP dans le logiciel. Les caractéristiques techniques sont importées par le logiciel du calcul et aussi il y a les places vides pour écrire des explications et plusieurs informations par le propriétaire soi-même, mais où il y a des places, c'est toujours indiqué parce que c'est un standard. Et si le consultant a rempli toutes les places vides, il presse sur le bouton pour générer un fichier PDF et puis il peut imprimer les 2 documents pour le propriétaire. Oui. La DENA a un projet qui s'appelle le DENA Expertenservice. C'est un service pour des ingénieurs, des architectes et des artisans qui travaillent dans le métier de la rénovation et énergétique. Là, il se trouve beaucoup des informations sur le ISFP aussi. On peut télécharger les documents pour le consultant, mais aussi des exemplaires, des exemples pour les documents pour le propriétaire. Et nous offrons un FAQ. Et si le propriétaire a encore des questions, nous avons un service téléphone et un service email pour donner des réponses. Oui, c'était ma présentation. Si vous avez encore des questions, n'hésitez pas à me le poser.
Merci beaucoup. Est-ce que quelqu'un a une question courte, une réaction? A short question?
Bonjour, merci. Je voudrais savoir comment est-ce que vous fiabilisez, estimez et mettez à jour les estimations de rénovation, des coûts de rénovation.
Oui, les coûts de rénovation sont indiqués sur la page dépliable, mais aussi dans l'aide dans un autre document. Et c'est très détaillé pour chaque mesure d'efficacité.
Comment ils sont mis à jour? Qui est-ce qui les fait?
Oui, mais comment?
Qui c'est qui construit ces coûts-là? Who actually makes them emerge?
Ce sont des coûts qui sont des expériences et tout ça d'un auditeur. Il y a beaucoup d'informations sur ce thème-là. Oui.
Thanks for speaking French, really. I was asked to prepare my presentation, my speech in English, so I will switch to English. I will try because, well, maybe I will switch to French if it's not easy for me. So I will present you a French project called Mon Carnet Logement, which is a French logbook, an experimentation. You see the home page of the prototype right there. But before showing you the prototype, just a few very short words on what is Qualitel. I just told you it's an association, French one, housing quality for 45 years. Gathering a consumer association, housing professional organizations, and also a French Ministry of Housing. And a few words of French law about housing and about logbooks. Maybe you know that, but a few short words. Last year, in 2017, was launched a logbook experimentation by the French Housing Ministry. Many teams, I think 11 teams, answered this experimentation, and Qualitel was one of those teams. And I, with Stephanie here present, were the pilot of the experimentation for Qualitel, and a good recent news in the Loi Elan. Maybe the French people heard about the Loi Elan, which is the digital housing new French law, just voted at the present time, and it contains a mandatory digital logbook for new houses, starting in 2020 for the new building, and to 2025 for the existing buildings. When I say building, I mean individual apartment and collective buildings and houses also. Okay, so I show you the experimentation of last year. Let's go. First, I discovered recently this word logbook, and I just want to say it's very reducing, because it's much more than a logbook, and I think all the things we saw before my presentation prove that it's much more than logbooks, because logbooks looks toward the past, and okay, we must have traceability of all the things, all the works done on a building in the past, but all the advantage of that kind of tools is to look toward the future and to help us to make planning, to improve performance in all direction of the building. And for us, for Qualitel, we are convinced if the tool is not more than that, it won't work. It won't be used by all of us in our everyday life. So we are convinced it needs to be a real house portal with other and many services like begin to show us in your roadmap for the future years. And I think it's very important to that kind of tool to be adopted massively by all of us. If it's only a place to stock important files for the building, important information, certificates, we go there maybe once a year or once every 5 years when we ask ourselves questions about renovation or about selling our building. Just a few screenshots. Here is the homepage of Mon Carnet Logement. We see, well, I I zoom and I focus on a few functionality. The first one is a important document storage. You will see here, for example, my invoices, the plan of my apartment, my heating system notice. We can imagine all the important documents you need to have or you want to share in your everyday life. Organized in 3 parts: my house, my building, and if I am part of the, don't know to translate in English, my conseil syndical, voilà, the espace for the conseil syndical. Okay. What's important, maybe a big difference between this project and the one we saw before, is those documents you see there are not already in a public database. One of the difficulty of this project is how we put those documents, those important documents, in the tool, and that's the responsibility of the owner of the building. It can be a professional who is constructing the building or the house, and after that the owner, the particular one, which is in charge of filling the logbook. Okay, so documents. Another example of functionality is the BIM. We develop a prototype to view. It's a viewer system of IFC file of the building, and so you can you can see your BIM file and click on a window or wall and have the precise information of the reference and the quality of this element. It's just prospective, you understand, maybe. It's just to prepare the future, and maybe in 5-10 years, all the information will be brought to this tool by the IFC file. But right now, at the day I'm talking, we need oftenly to manually put the information in the tool. Another big functionality is the action, how the tool can help me taking good care of my apartment of our house. So we have just planning a calendar with a notice avec des rappels to help me not to forget to take care of my heating system, for example. And here can the link be done with the passports, because when a passport is done on a building, planning, renovation works in the future, on many years, Carnet can be a good place to register those information, the dates, and to not to forget to do the good work in the good time. One example of other functionality, more on the portal part. We try to think, okay, I want to make a few works in my apartment. I want to repaint my room, for example. And with this little tool we connect to, I can try to see how much it's going to cost. And if I want, I can find the right painter in my neighborhood to come to work in my place. Okay, that's all for the very rapid overview of the tool. I was not exhaustive voluntarily. Just a few words about the obstacle or the difficulties we faced. We tried to face last year. The first one is the scope. It's very, very large. On the functionality of a tool, a portal, we want to be a everyday life portal of the house. So one of the first difficulty is to choose, to prioritize the functionality we want to implement. The second one is we need to sell this wonderful tool, because no one is waiting for it, saying, oh, it's wonderful, I dreamed for a few years of that kind of logbook, so please give me one. No, it's not like that. We need to talk, to explain, to present, and so yes, people start thinking, yes, maybe it can be useful in that situation. And yes, I understand, and when you can talk 5 or 10 minutes to someone, it always works. The conclusion is always, yes, it can be useful. I think I will try it. But if you don't have those 5 or 10 minutes, it's very difficult. So the communication, the information is really a hard job to do. And and yes, the first one, the last one you read, the money, because it's not like, for example, in the Flandre, where the government use public data and offer automatically everything. No, we talk about private actors. We all, the government with the law, the French law I was talking about in the beginning, say, okay, it will be mandatory soon. But you, private actor, you can, you can build those wonderful tools, and you need to find the business model yourself. Okay, so for us, the user need to pay in a way, they need to pay something, the professional and the particular. So that's a real issue. Okay, I think it's my last slide. I already said, for me, there are really a good connection, strong connection between the logbook and passport. It seems obvious for me that all the information, all the data contained in the passport needs to interact with the logbook, with the Carnet du logement. We're going to work on it soon. And mainly also in the time to measure the effects of the renovation operation. Because I didn't say it, but we connect also the logbook to smart metering. In France, you know the very famous Linky, smart metering. Not very popular, but more and more popular. And the Gaspar one, for the gas. So Linky and Gaspar, we work to connect them to the logbook, so we can measure before and after a renovating operation, which are the effects, the real effects of the transformation. That's it. Thank you.
How would people come to the logbook, to the Carnet numérique du logement? How would people encounter it? How would people get to connect to the page the first time and then maybe pay or register? What's the process behind it?
For the new house, it's quite easy, because the law obliged the builder to deliver a logbook to the people who's buying the apartment. So I think all the important documents he needs to have when all the diagnostics, all the plan will be in the tool. So I think it will naturally for the new building connect. For the existing part, it's very different. I think it's on the mutation time. It's on when you buy a new when you buy a flat or you sell yourself, then you will ask you those questions, because it's a paradox. But when you buy a new flat or a new house, you today in France you don't have many official documents of the history of the works done on those. Very expensive good. So yes, there is a need for that.
Okay, thank you. I have actually a question quite similar to both of you. How will people? What's the process and the stakeholders behind the woningpas? Who is going to be the first person who talks to a house owner about the woningpas and the EPC plus? What's the chain of actors who will have a role in that? How does it start?
Yeah, our passport is also will also be often consulted when you have like a changing mutation. So we expect the architects in our stakeholders. We have the representations of architects, contractors, notaries, and also, but I do not know the word in English nor French, the agents immobiliers. So these are important stakeholders. So we'd like them to be the ambassadors of our passport. So we have asked them during our consultations moments to let know when they have changing in when there are interested buyers or interested tenants or people who want to renovate, that they will have to take a look to the logbook. We also have interaction with the cities and the municipalities. So that's also a key person who can make people aware of the existence of the logbook. So it's at the key moments when you renovate, but we hope that it will grow to be a part of people's life if we can add more information on maintenance and real periodically things.
Okay, thank you. And for you, Raili, how do people come to the individueller Sanierungsfahrplan and how do they use it afterwards? What are the people involved?
In German. In Germany, it's important that the energy advisors like the individual roadmap because they are the ambassadors for this product. And if they like the ESFP, they will offer it to their clients. And also the software software companies are important ambassadors for us because they offer trainings for their programs, and they are really there are companies offering only trainings for the individual roadmap to explain it to their customers. Yeah, these are the important ones. And also there are other channels, for example, with this, if the people wants to get money from a state, they read about it and so on. But yeah, the really important ones are the energy advisors.
I think you wanted to say something too? Okay. I had a last question. Oh, we have only 5 minutes left. Maybe we'll take 5 more. Do your tools and how do you deal with climate and carbon emissions in the roadmaps especially? What do you recommend?
The carbon emission is written on is integrated in this central page of the individual roadmap, and there behind are numbers. Yeah, it's really difficult where the energy advisors can look behind, and it's difficult to explain. But yeah, there it's integrated. It's for carbon emissions.
But in the recommendations, in the roadmap, do you exclude some solutions that are too carbon intensive? Do you prioritize insulation and it makes the emissions go down anyway? How does it concretely, how is the arbitration made?
The method behind is to get always the best the principle is the principle is the meilleur possible, to say it in French, and but it's always important to get the midway in between. What are the belongings of the owner, which finance possibility he has, which wishes, and so on, and then we look what is possible with the building, what is really necessary, and what and that's the way behind. So the carbon, it's the goal to get the best possible energy renovation, energy efficient renovation. Yeah.
And Tina, what would you answer to the carbon question?
Yeah, that's a difficult one because we do not take into really account the carbon emission of each renovation step. We just give an indicator on the global carbon emission and comparing to other dwellings from the same type in the same region, but we do not take it into account in each renovation step. But it's something that we really have in case of the energy transition that we have to work on. But we also should take into account also other elements of the impact of the environment. And there's another tool in Flanders existing, a totem tool, who takes into account many more of the but it's a different tool who takes into account the impact of certain measures on the environment, and CO2 carbon is just one of them, but they're like separate.
Yes, for the Carnet logement, there is no focus at the present time on the carbon, but I wanted to say, of course, it's a very important target, and but one of the main motivation of the people when they want to make transformation works, it won't be the carbon, the first one. We all know that. So the difficulty for us is to combine the first motivation, which are usually more comfort, to reduce the price of your energy invoice, and to combine that with the carbon target also. That's all the subtlety of the mission.
Yeah, even energy isn't usually the first reason why people make a renovation. That's why we want to, in French we say embarquer la rénovation énergétique, put the energy renovation or the energy performance into a renovation project that exists, and then we have to integrate the carbon dimension in the energy dimension as well. But it's not, the question is how to integrate it without being scary or too complex also. Thank you very much. Please, if anybody has any questions, we'll still take 5 minutes.
Thank you. I had a question about we saw the extension of logbooks from individual housing to buildings. Some years ago, there was mandatory for public housing, public administration, and so on to be displayed, and it has not been done successfully, of course. My question is it possible to make a link between logbooks for private housings and some public buildings, such as town halls in small cities, so as to give example for public?
Maybe I answer this while I try the answering. Yes, that's a very good idea. I don't know very well the obligation on public bâtiment you mentioned, but well, at the present time, the the Elan law only concern les logements, quoi. Les logements particuliers, quoi. Donc je pense que ça va être, excusez-moi, j'ai switché en français, je l'envisage, ça me semble assez compliqué. En revanche, l'idée de réunir un certain nombre d'obligations qui pèsent sur le logement pour toutes les réunir dans ce futur carnet du logement, oui, ça c'est l'actualité et c'est une excellente idée. Par exemple, le carnet d'entretien de l'immeuble, que vous connaissez sans doute bien, qui est également reconnu comme un demi-succès ou un demi-échec, parce qu'il est bien souvent vide de contenu, de documents intéressants. Il a toute sa place, le carnet d'entretien de l'immeuble, dans le carnet d'entretien du logement. Voilà. If you want to add something.
Yeah, we're thinking about enlarging the scope, but the people who it's difficult to explain. We think it's a total different point of entry if you have a house owner who doesn't know many things about energy, and the public sector or the non-residential sector, where there are the owners of it are already more technical. So we believe we can take some points we learned about the housing logbook for residential buildings, but the logbook will be totally different for non-residential buildings, because we believe the owners are more aware of technical information. So it will be a different approach.
On your right, yeah, maybe. Sébastien Béquignon, I'm mostly an entrepreneur, working on sensibilization around climate change and mostly society issues. My question is, most of your platforms is handling multiple houses. Are you just proposing an advice to not having multiple houses, which is far most efficient than any work inside one house?
The question, does it work also for a single house? That's it?
No, it's no. Do you advise to not have multiple houses?
Je suis pas sûr d'avoir compris. Est-ce que ça se prête aussi finalement au logement collectif et de l'individuel? C'est bien ça? Pardon.
Non,
désolé
en fait, la question, c'est juste une personne qui a 2 maisons, 3 maisons,
oui.
des résidences secondaires.
Ok, pardon.
Est-ce qu'on peut juste lui proposer de ne pas en avoir plusieurs?
Yes, that's a tricky position. Yes, when you own 3 houses, you will have only one connection, and you will choose on the first screen. Well, it's our choice on which house you want to have a look. But only one ID and one access.
Yes, but so you have for one ID you have the data which says these people have multiple houses.
Excuse me, the question, how the ID knows? That's it?
No. It's just showing a little pop-up. You have multiple houses, maybe you shouldn't.
Okay. I got it.
Pascal Réoua, l'EDF. I make one comment first. I think my feeling is that you must have a connection between logbook and renovation politics, and I think a very big impulse of state is needed, if I understand. And I think in France we have some works in this direction. And my question is, in how many years do you think you will cover all the house of your country, or which part in how many years?
I cannot say a number, but plus vite que possible.
In Flanders, the renovation advice, or EPC Plus, is only at the moment of selling or renting a house, so it will take long till we have covered everyone. But there are ideas about making obligations for the renovation advice. And there are like 2 ideas, but they're just ideas, that in 5 years, all the buildings with which are older than a certain building year have to have the renovation advice. Or we also have ideas on the fact that when you have an EPC, you should take into account, you should execute 3 of the 5 steps of the renovation. So it will be too slow if we just let it depend on the selling or renting moments. So we think about gradually obligate some parts of the building stock.
And in France, the figures you know very well. Is an apartment is sold every 7 or 8 years averagely. So we can imagine in maybe 10 years after the date of 2025, so maybe around 2035, you can see 80% or 90% of the French houses will have their logbook.
Good morning. My name is Thierry Brent-Bonner. I'm leading a research institute in the field of construction. Thank you very much for your presentation. Very interesting, and having the views of our neighbors is really nice. I would like to elaborate a bit on what Jean-Noël mentioned previously, which is that we observe in France that there is a limited interest or appetite for the energy renovation of buildings, and thus the market is growing much slower than expected and much slower than what we need in order to meet our commitments in terms of reduction of emissions of greenhouse gases. But what works well is to improve the comfort. All type of comforts, acoustics, visual comfort, thermal comfort, air quality, and thus there is a meaning in embedding these energy renovation of buildings within a global frame, which is more positive in terms of communication, which is improving the comfort. Would like to know if in Belgium and Germany you observe the same, let's say, reluctance on one way and possibility of embedding in a larger scope.
In Belgium or Flanders, there's also, unless there are many premiums and subsidies, we remark that the renovation degree is slowing down because it's really sometimes difficult to renovate, to tackle the renovation process. Energy isn't really sexy sometimes, so comfort is. But we tried to add some comfort parameters in the renovation roadmap, but we find it really difficult to put them in objective parameters. So we have to explore this matter because it is comfort, the visual comfort, the acoustical comfort is really important, but we did not find a way yet to express it in a more objective manner.
Yeah, for Germany it's also a difficult theme. It's nearly similar because the communication about energy savings doesn't work. It's really, we tried with the comfort now too. But yeah, it's like I said, the renovation rate is really slow at the moment. We need a renovation rate up to 2%, but its last numbers are the renovation rate in Germany is at 0.8%. So there's a lot to do. Yeah, and at the moment we are trying different ways. There's, for example, a competition for communicators, how we can make this theme more attractive for different target groups. And yeah, we will have a look what the results of this competition is. Yes.
Hello, Jacques Lefort, Dalkia, Électricité de France Group. I've got two questions for Madame Vande Casteele. First, I didn't get if the roadmap is generated automatically or if you ask for an expert to come to generate the roadmap. The second question is, it is an official database that you use to fill the tool. Is the access to the information for each building open to the companies in order to allow them to make offers to renovate the housing?
Yeah, so the automatic advice, you need the energy expert to go around. He does the on-site visit during the making up of the EPC. He just puts in data on the existing building, and then without, I say thinking, it's not really nice said, but there is an automatic advice made. He doesn't make himself priorities or something, so it's automatic because we did not want the EPC cost to be higher and higher. So first of all, we thought that the expert would generate the advice himself and make it more at the wishes of the more personalized, but it would take too much effort and cost, so we just put some automatic advice. We'll see how the market will react on that, and if it doesn't fit, we can put extra components to make more personalized and tailored advice. So now it's automatic, but generated from the software when the energy auditor makes his tour in the house. And your second question, the data. So the data for the EPC is entered by the energy auditor. It comes in a big database from our Flemish Energy Agency. Nowadays, it's not open to the public, but as a separate track, we're trying to think about making the data and also the linked data behind woningpas available, so we can go more to open data and share those data packages to people. But these data cannot be. There's a problem about about privacy, because energy performance is a private issue for people. You should get a permission to may use the data. But we're thinking about making data more available for other entities, for other uses, for the private sector, open data, but we have some privacy issues to make it every data available.
Two things. First, we're going to take one last very short question and make a conclusive answer to it. Second, just a reaction. There is a trade-off between the degree of personalization you can have on the renovation roadmap and the time and money it consumes. If you want to massify, you have to reduce the cost, reduce the time, but have recommendations that can be applied to the household. So we all took different options in our tools in order to reduce the time and money consumed and increase the utility, the meaning and the helpfulness of the recommendations. But there is a trade-off indeed. We have to manage it. That's why there are individual renovation roadmaps. It's one of the reasons. So last question, and then we'll just take 30 seconds and we'll be done.
Bonjour, Dominique Lefebvre, President of RenoCop, Hub of Renovation, and coordinator of EEB Lab initiative, Energy Efficiency Building Lab. My question is about the scale of observation of energy saving and low carbon consumption in the city context. We talk about sharing and optimizing the smart gridding networks and energy decentralized system. your initiative integrates? Does your initiative integrate this city dimension?
In Germany, the context of the city it is not integrated. The individual roadmap looks only at the building.
In Flanders, it's not integrated yet, but we're trying to explore the paths to integrate it and to get those data of cities in the personal logbook of a person.
Yes, and not yet for the Carnet du logement, but that's a nice perspective, but hard job to do. But yes, technically possible. Of course, when you connect to smart metering, we can imagine many declinations.